Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. K is back with a video for business math. Today we find ourselves in section 13-7. And before we get started, what you will see in front of you is problem number 1 from our homework. But what I'm going to do right now is kind of move things around a little bit to give us just a little bit more room. So please realize this is problem number 1 from our worksheet, but I'm moving step 3 over here. Once again, just trying to give us a little bit more room. And I'm going to move this problem up a little bit, so hopefully it shows up a little bit more neatly on the video. Today in section 13-7, we're looking at training employees. Training employees is something that many companies do all the time. Actually, Lawrence Central does it as well. And what happens here is that sometimes teachers go away to training at a various conference, perhaps at another high school, and we're trained there to learn new things that we can bring back into the classroom. Sometimes we take training over the summer. And for schools or businesses to send their employees away for training, there are costs associated with that. And what we're going to mainly be looking for is how to calculate the total training cost that you see right there in the blue circle. Now, the first part to finding the total training cost is being able to find the cost of instruction. Now, I'm not sure you want to do this, but if I were you, I'd maybe at somewhere on your paper write down some of these definitions that I'm about to give you. You can even draw arrows to them if you want. And once again, as I was just saying, write out a definition, because that can really help you to understand how to do this today. So, with that being said, what is the cost of instruction? It's an amount of money that is spent to pay for the teaching, for the learning. And who normally gets paid? Well, either the instructor or teacher that's giving the instruction. You see down here in our problem today, we're going to have the cost of instruction come from this line right here, which is very important to point out. So the cost of instruction goes to pay for the teacher. Then we have additional costs. Additional costs can be a variety of different things. Perhaps donuts, juice, and coffee. Perhaps it's a certain workbook that every single one of the people need for that day's training. But additional costs could involve a variety of different supplies. And so we need to know what that is. So, once we know the additional costs and the cost of instruction, we then lastly need to know the cost of release time. Now, the cost of release time is kind of tricky, because what you need to know is this hint right here. There's a little bit of extra hidden math that you may need to do. And so what you will do is you'll take the number of days times, I'll say it again, the number of days times the employee wages per day. And if you're able to do that, you can find the cost of release time. But let me warn you, there might be a couple of problems today where you don't have to do that little extra step. But it's important to know about that. Once you know all three of these parts right here, you add them up, and then that is how you find the total training cost. So let's jump right into the problem. Let's try and get a good understanding of it and start using the steps. Now there's a lot of info here, so please pay attention. Web Solutions Incorporated held a 2-day training program for 10 of its senior level employees. All were paid, and this is kind of important, all were paid their regular wages, which totaled $1,800 per day. Now, I do really want to draw your attention to two words here. Totaled. So that means all 10 of those employees earn $1,800 each and every day. That's not how much each employee makes. That's how much all 10 of them make. And that's important to say that that's how much they make per day. So hopefully you understand those two orange circled bits of the problem. So once again, all of these employees were paid their regular wages, which totaled $1,800 per day, and the cost of the seminar's instructor, now this is the person who's doing the teaching, they're going to get paid $268 per day. There were some supplies and there were some equipment for the program, and that came out to being $36 per employee. Once again, per employee. So please keep that in mind. All right, once we know all this info, let's jump right on in. What was the cost of instruction for letter A? Well, what we're doing here is step 1, and we're going to take the number of days, which in this case is 2 days, and we're going to multiply it. We're going to multiply it times the price per day for instruction. The price per day per instruction is $268 per day. If you can use the colors in front of you, you'll be able to see where I'm getting this info. So you multiply this all out, and what do you get? You get $536 even. That's how much it costs just for the teacher, just for the instruction. Then step 2 takes us to where we need to calculate the cost for all the additional costs. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the number of employees, and there's 10 employees. You don't have to write these words out. I'm just doing it because it helps me. 10 employees, and we're going to multiply this times the price per employee for the supplies and the equipment. And the extra supplies and the extra equipment cost $36 even. When we multiply that all out, it comes out to being $360. Now we can go to step 3. What was the total training cost? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we do have to be very careful. We want to be very careful because we need to be sure that we're not forgetting that extra hint up there. That extra hint tells us that I have to take the number of days, which is 2 days, and I need to multiply that times how much the employees earn per day, the total amount that they earn per day. They make $1,800 per day. That's what they make. So, if I multiply that all out, what I am going to get is $3,600. And then what I can do is I can add that. That's right, add that to the 536 and add that to the 360. And if I add all of these items up properly, I get a grand total of $4,496. And that is the total training cost to train all 10 of these employees. As a reminder, Mr. K is there to help you out if you have questions, and feel free to go back and rewatch any parts of the video that you need to. Thanks, and have a great afternoon.